In the integumentary system, which includes the skin, it accumulates deep towards the base of the skin, providing us insulation from heat and cold. Around other organs, it provides a protective padding. However, its main function is to serve as lipid reserves, which can be burnt to meet the energy needs of the body in case of depletion of carbohydrates. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਕਿ ਐਨੀਮਲਸ ਅਤੇ ਹਿਊਮਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ obesity, ਸਰੀਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੈਟ, specifically adipose tissue ਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. Next type of tissue that we will discuss now is white fibrous tissue. White fibrous tissue, a type of connective tissue composed of smaller, fine, wavy interlacing fibers which branches and joins each other. The white fibrous tissue is especially rich in white collagen fibers. These are similar to those found in the areolar tissue, but are thicker as compared to them. This tissue is very tough, but is not elastic. It may appear in two forms, cords and sheets. Let us know more about these.
Cords. The white fibers run parallel to each other to form cords called tendons. A tendon is a tough band of fibrous connective tissue. It is very thick, dense, and a strong connective tissue which is composed of white collagenous fibers. The tendon is the structure that connects the muscles to the bones. Sheets. Here the fibers lie in a crisscross fashion in one plane and thus form sheets. It occurs in the pericardium of the heart, dura mater of the brain and spinal cord, cornea of the eyeball, capsule of the kidney, etc.
This was all about the white fibrous tissue. You know that the proper connective tissue is of 5 types. Now we will discuss the next type, which is known as yellow elastic tissue. Yellow elastic tissue is not so strong, but it is elastic. It is found in the walls of blood vessels and air tubes and unites the cartilages of the larynx. It differs in structure from the others in having a prevalence of elastic fibers. It also has 2 forms, cords. The cords formed by this tissue are called ligament. The ligaments help to join bones. Sheets. इस टिश्यू द्वारा बनाईयां गईयां sheets, blood vessels, lungs and bronchioles the walls which ਪਾਈਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਹਨ. The recovery of these organs after expansion is due to this tissue present in their walls. The white fibrous tissues and yellow elastic tissues are together referred to as dense connective tissues. Last type of proper connective tissue is reticular connective tissue.
Reticular connective tissue consists of reticular cells and a network of reticular fibers formed by them. The reticular cells are star-shaped. The protoplasmic processes of these cells join to form a cellular network. Reticular fibers are superimposed on the reticular cells. They are composed of a protein called reticulin. They are branched and inelastic. Most connective tissues contain reticular fibers, but these fibers are dominant in reticular connective tissue.
So students, ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ connective tissue ਬਾਰੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ. ਚਲੋ ਹੁਣ ਕੁਝ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਜਾਣੀਏ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ। Be attentive. Here are some questions. Question. Name the 4 types of animal tissues. Answer. In animals, there are 4 basic types of tissues. These are epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, and nervous tissues. Next question. What are connective tissues? Answer. Connective tissues are the most diverse type of animal tissues. Connective tissues mainly function to bind and support other tissues. They have sparsely placed cells scattered through an extracellular matrix. The next question is, name the 3 main types of connective tissue. Answer. 3 main types of connective tissue are loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. My next question is, what is the main function of connective tissue proper? Answer. Connective tissue proper mainly connects one tissue to another and form protective sheets around different organs. Next question. What are areolar connective tissues? Answer. Areolar connective tissue is the most widely distributed connective tissue type in vertebrates. Areolar or loose connective tissue holds organs and epithelia in place and has a variety of proteinaceous fibers including collagen and elastin. The next question is, what are the main functions of adipose tissue? Answer is, the main role of adipose tissue is to store energy in the form of fat. It also provides insulation from heat and cold. ਬੱਚਿਓ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਨਸੈਪਟਸ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੋਣਗੇ। ਥੈਂਕਸ ਫॉर योर ਕੋਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਐਂਡ ਅਟੈਂਸ਼ਨ। ਅਗਲੀ ਕਲਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਵੇਂ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਰ ਮਿਲਾਂਗੇ। ਥੈਂਕਸ। Hello students, welcome to the world of animal tissues. The body of all living organisms, including plants, fungi and animals, adhere to a distinct hierarchical organization in which relatively simple structures combine to form larger, more complex structures. Animals are complex organisms having different types of tissues and more complex organs than found in the plants. Organs in animals are composed of a number of different types of tissues. Basically, the level of organization in all the organisms is same. The cells together form tissues. Tissues form organs, and organs build organ systems. Groups of multiple organs working together to carry out major body functions are called organ systems. This organ system is different in various living organisms. कोई भी मल्टीसेल्यूलर ਜਾਂ ਲਾਰਜ ਆਰਗੇਨਿਜ਼ਮ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਐਫੀਸ਼ੀਐਂਟਲੀ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਜੇਕਰ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਸੈੱਲ ਸਪੈਸਿਫਿਕ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਾਈਜ਼ਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ। ਟਿਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਕਈ ਸੈਲਸ ਦਾ ਸਮੂਹ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਜੋ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸਿਫਿਕ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨ ਪਰਫਾਰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। Organs are composed of 2 or more types of tissues which coordinate and function together to perform a specific task. The word tissue is derived from a Latin word meaning to weave. It means cells that make up tissues are sometimes woven together with extracellular fibers. Basically, the tissue is a collection of cells of common origin or structure working together to perform a specific function. Hence, tissue may be defined as an assemblage of similar or dissimilar cells from the same origin that perform or help to perform specific or common functions. Tissues may interact with each other in order to accomplish a particular life function. Structures resulting from such interactions are known as organs. In turn, these organs may exhibit a structural and functional interdependence resulting in organ systems. The sum total of a variety of organ systems gives rise to an organism. The study of tissues is called histology, which is derived from the Greek word histos, means tissue, and logia is knowledge. All animals are organized into a hierarchy: cells, tissues, and then organs. First of all, let us see how these cells, tissues, and organs are organized in a living body.
As you know that the multicellular organisms consist of different types of cells. These different types of cells cluster together in order to perform specific functions and form tissues. As you can see here, many types of epithelial cells combine to form epithelial tissue, which are generally flat, compactly arranged cells. Similarly, many types of muscle cells, which are generally contractile, combine to form muscle tissue. Also, it is clear in the visual that many nerve cells form a nervous tissue, and similarly, blood cells form blood vascular tissue. Many tissues now combine to form an organ, such as stomach, intestine, etc. And these organs then collectively form a system. As you can see here, different organs form the digestive system. Digestive system, along with other body systems such as skeletal system, blood vascular system, respiratory system, excretory system, etc., work collectively and form an organism.
The study of the tissues is very important and useful, as the types and organization of these tissues can provide insight into speciation and the phylogeny of animal groups. There are different types of tissues in animals, as the animals vary to a great extent in behavior, structure, and functions. The different cell types are arranged together to form tissues. ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਐਨੀਮਲ ਟਿਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਫੰਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਾਂਗੇ। ਸੋ ਆਓ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਟਿਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਪਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣੀਏ। Animal tissues. In animals, there are 4 basic types of tissues. These are epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscular tissues, and nervous tissues. But in today's topic, we will study connective tissues and their types in detail. As the name implies, connective tissue serves a connecting function. It supports and binds other tissues. This is the most widespread and abundant type of tissue in the human body. Connective tissue is the most diverse type of animal tissue. Connective tissue mainly functions to bind and support other tissues. They have sparsely placed cells scattered through an extracellular matrix. This extracellular matrix is a web of fibers that is woven in a homogeneous ground substance that can be liquid, solid, or jelly-like. The matrix of the cells is usually secreted by the connective tissue. The main function of connective tissue is binding, support, and packaging. Many tissues are supported, surrounded, and held in place by connective tissues. Connective tissue fibers form capsules and membranes which surround organs and form ligaments and tendons which bind bones to each other or to muscles. They also form the 3-dimensional fibrous mesh which supports cells inside large soft organs such as the liver and spleen. In this topic, we will study the connective tissue. So, let's explore more about connective tissue.
Connective tissue. Connective tissues are so named because these have special function of linking and supporting other tissues and organs of the body. These can be classified into loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Loose connective tissues have cells and fibers loosely arranged in a semi-fluid ground substance. For example, areolar tissue and adipose tissue. Dense connective tissues have cells and fibers compactly packed. Dense connective tissues are of 2 types: dense regular tissues and dense irregular tissues. In dense regular connective tissues, the orientation of fibers shows a regular pattern. Ligaments and tendons are examples of dense regular type of connective tissue. Dense irregular type of connective tissues show an irregular pattern of fibers. These are mostly collagen fibers that are oriented differently. This tissue is present in the skin.
Cartilage, bones, and blood are various types of specialized connective tissues. आओ ਹੁਣ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ classification of connective tissues ਬਾਰੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਕਰੀਏ। ਕੁਝ ਮੇਜਰ ਟਾਈਪਸ ਦੇ connective tissues ਹਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਲਾਸੀਫਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। Connective tissue proper, skeletal tissue and vascular tissue। ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੇਵਲ ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਦੇ ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਟਾਈਪ ਤੇ ਕਨਸੈਂਟਰੇਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ। Connective tissue proper is characterized by cells and fibers embedded in a soft ground substance. Connective tissue proper has a soft gel-like matrix composed of proteoglycans. Proteoglycans are proteins that are heavily glycosylated. The basic proteoglycan unit consists of a core protein with one or more covalently attached glycosaminoglycan, that is GAG chains. They mainly connect one tissue to another and form protective sheaths around organs. Connective tissue proper is of 5 types. These are areolar tissue, adipose tissue, white fibrous tissue, yellow elastic tissue, reticular tissue. Let us discuss these all tissue types one by one.
Areolar tissue. Areolar connective tissue is the most widely distributed connective tissue in vertebrates. Areolar or loose connective tissue holds organs and epithelia in place and has a variety of proteinaceous fibers including collagen and elastin. As you can see here, this type of tissue is also found in a digestive system. Walls of a stomach have this tissue. The microscopic image of areolar connective tissue is highlighted here. You can also see here the mesh of fibers. The fibroblasts or cells of areolar tissue are separated by a non-living jelly-like matrix. The tissue contains collagen fibers for flexibility and strength, and numerous elastic fibers that enable it to be stretched. Cells called fibroblasts are widely dispersed in this tissue. They are irregular branched cells that secrete strong fibrous proteins and proteoglycans as an extracellular matrix. Areolar connective tissue is found beneath the skin and in most internal organs of vertebrates, where it allows the organs to expand. It also forms a protective covering for muscles, blood vessels, and nerves.
Students, the spaces left between the fibers are called areolae, hence the name given to this type of tissue is areolar tissue. It varies greatly in appearance. In many membranes, it appears as a loose arrangement of collagen and elastic fibers with cells of various types scattered among them. In the skin and mucous membranes, it is more compact and sometimes difficult to distinguish from dense, irregular connective tissue. It is the most widely distributed connective tissue type in vertebrates. It can be found in tissue sections from almost every part of the body. It surrounds blood vessels and nerves and penetrates along with them even into the small spaces between muscles, tendons, and other tissues. The function of areolar connective tissue is to hold organs in place and attach epithelial tissue to other underlying tissues. It also serves as a reservoir of water and salts for surrounding tissues. Areolar connective tissue is composed of numerous fibers and cells and abundant mucin. These fibers are mostly of 2 types, white fibers and yellow fibers. Sometimes a small number of reticular fibers are also present. Let us see how these look like.
White fibers. The white fibers are very fine and wavy and are found abundantly. They occur in bundles called fascia, being cemented together by mucin. They are flexible but inelastic and unbranched. They are formed of a protein called collagen. The collagen fibers provide firmness to the tissue. The collagen fibers are formed at the site of injury for healing. Yellow fibers. The yellow fibers are fewer and thicker than the white fibers. They are straight and occur singly. They are flexible, elastic, and branched. These branches join with one another to form an irregular network. They are formed of a protein called elastin, which is resistant to boiling. The yellow fibers provide elasticity to the tissue. Reticular fibers. The reticular fibers are mainly formed of a protein reticulin. They are very thin, branched, inelastic, and occur singly. They form a tightly woven fabric that joins the connective tissue to adjacent tissues.
Students, ਇਹ ਉਹ ਫਾਈਬਰਸ ਹਨ ਜੋ ਏਰੀਓਲਰ ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਏਰੀਓਲਰ ਕਨੈਕਟਿਵ ਟਿਸ਼ੂ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੈਲਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਮੈਟ੍ਰਿਕਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਮੁੱਖ ਕਿਸਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੈਲਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਚਲੋ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Fibroblasts and Fibrocytes. The fibroblasts are the most common cells found in connective tissues. They are the true connective tissue cells. They are large, flat, spindle-like cells with long processes and oval nucleus. They secrete the matrix and the material which forms the fibers. The inactive fibroblasts are called fibrocytes. They are small and may change into fibroblasts to secrete fibers during wound healing. Macrophages arise from precursor cells called monocytes. They are large, long-lived, irregular, amoeboid cells with an ovoid nuclei, which is indented on one side. They have abundant endocytotic vesicles and lysosomes. They engulf the microbes, foreign particles, and damaged cells. Mast cells. The mast cells, also called mastocytes, are small oval cells in mammals. The cytoplasm of mast cells is filled with numerous large vesicles.
These mast cells become increasingly active when something goes wrong in the connective tissue. Quite a few of them are present in healthy connective tissue as they stand on guard and monitor the local situation. As I told you that the cytoplasm of these mast cells is filled with numerous large vesicles. Mast cells discharge the contents of these vesicles if they come in contact with antigens. Vesicles ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ prominent substances heparin and histamine ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। Heparin blood vessels ਵਿੱਚ blood ਦੀ clotting ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕਦਾ ਹੈ। Histamine allergic ਅਤੇ inflammatory reactions ਵਿੱਚ involve ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। Its release from the mast cells help in body defense by attracting the phagocytes to the site of injury. Let us check other types of cells. Fat cells. A fat cell contains a large lipid droplet that occupies most of the cytoplasm. Chromatophores. These are pigment cells present in specialized areas such as skin and eye. They are much branched and packed with pigment granules. These cells are largely responsible for generating skin and eye color in cold-blooded animals. Mesenchyme cells. These are embryonic connective tissue cells with an outstanding capacity for proliferation and capable of further differentiation into reticular cells or osteoblasts. Plasma cells. These are relatively large, rounded cells with eccentrically placed nucleus. They synthesize antibodies. After studying the different types of cells found in areolar connective tissue, now let us check the second type of proper connective tissue, that is, adipose tissue.
Adipose tissue. In humans, adipose tissue is found beneath the skin, around internal organs, and in the bone marrow. Adipose tissue is found in specific locations which are referred to as adipose depots. Adipose tissue or body fat or just fat is loose connective tissue composed of adipocytes which contain fat droplets. Adipose tissue is derived from lipoblasts. The main role of adipose tissue is to store energy in the form of fat, although it also cushions and insulates the body.
Adipose tissue is a type of loose connective tissue. It has reduced matrix material and contains enlarged fibroblast cells that store fat.